Chapter 2. Escape. The roads were clogged with cars, headlights stretching for miles like glowing ants. People honked and shouted, trying to force their way forward. I saw families arguing, some leaving their cars and running into the woods as if they could outrun the virus. Fear had taken over. "Are we going to make it to the bunker?" I asked from the back seat, where I sat clutching my bag. Mum glanced at me, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. "We have to." Mum was adamant, but I noticed the way her voice shook. Suddenly, from the chaos ahead, a figure stumbled into the street, right in front of our car. Mum slammed on the brakes, and I was thrown forward, my heart leaping into my throat. The figure, the man, looked like he'd been torn apart. His eyes were wild, unfocused, and he staggered towards us with a limp that made my stomach turn. He looked hurt, but something was really strange about him. It wasn't natural. I couldn't place it until he got closer. His mouth hung open, covered in fresh blood. He wasn't looking for help. He was hunting for his next victim. "Alex! Danny! Get down!" Dad's voice boomed through the chaos. He grabbed a shotgun from the back seat in one swift motion, his hands steady, his face set with a grim determination I had never seen before. My body moved before my brain could catch up, dropping myself and Danny to the floor of the car as he kicked open the door. I stared through the window as my heart thundered like a drum, as the man, or whatever he had become, lurched towards us with jerky, unnatural movements, his eyes glowing with a terrifying hunger. Time stood still. Everything appeared to be in slow motion. Dad raised the shotgun and aimed at the figure stumbling towards us. Its eyes locked on us, unblinking, like a predator sizing up its prey. I wanted to scream, to run, to do anything but sit there frozen in terror. But I couldn't. My limbs were like lead, my mind overwhelmed by the sheer horror of what was unfolding in front of my eyes. The news, the TV was telling the truth. Then the blast came, loud and deafening in the still night air. The man crumpled to the ground, his body folding in on itself like a marionette with its strings cut. The sound of the shot echoed through the empty streets, but it didn't bring any relief. Instead, my eyes darted to the distance, where more shapes began to emerge from the shadows. Slow at first, but then faster. They were coming! More of them! Just like the man Dad had shot. "Get back in the car!" Mum's voice cut through the panic, sharp with fear. Dad barely had time to slam the door shut before she floored the gas, and tyres screeching against the asphalt as we sped away. I scrambled back into my seat, shaking uncontrollably, unable to comprehend the nightmare we were trapped in. Dad was loading the shotgun again, his movements quick and practiced, but I saw the fear in his eyes. "They're everywhere," he muttered under his breath, his voice tight with urgency. "We've got to get away from the city now." My chest tightened as I glanced out the window, the world outside a blur of darkness and chaos. The night seemed alive with terror. Fires raged in the distance, their orange flames licking at the sky as if the world itself was burning, trying to cleanse itself of the disease of what used to be humanity. The distant wails of sirens and the faint, horrifying sounds of screams filtered through the closed windows of the car. I pressed my hands to my brother's ears, trying to block it all out, but it was useless. The horror was everywhere, suffocating, inescapable. "Mum, how far is the bunker?" I asked, my voice small and trembling. "We're close, sweetheart," she replied, her voice wavering despite her best effort to sound calm. She was gripping the steering wheel so tight that her knuckles had turned white, her eyes darting between the road and the rearview mirror, checking for signs of pursuit. Dad leaned forward, scanning the road ahead with a sharp intensity. "We'll make it," he said more to himself than anyone else. "Just keep driving." But I wasn't sure we would. Every second was like a race against time, like the world was collapsing around us faster than we could escape it. As we sped down the back roads, weaving between abandoned cars and debris, I caught glimpses of people, some running, others fighting, and then those who weren't people anymore. What had the news said? That they ate flesh? They were flesh eaters. They moved in a strange, jerky, unnatural way, their bodies haunched and contorted, their eyes wild and bloodshot. They didn't just look like people who had lost control. They looked like they had lost their humanity altogether, like they had become something else, something monstrous. I turned my gaze away, tears stinging my eyes. How had it all fallen apart so quickly? Just days ago, everything had seemed so normal. We had been watching the news about the riots, hearing reports about the chaos in the big cities. But it started on the other side of the world. Now, the nightmare was here, chasing us, breathing down our necks. I could still see that man, the one Dad had shot. His face full of hatred and hunger. His eyes filled with a madness few could comprehend. His eyes were unnatural, with a milky white film over them, and they looked bloodshot, as if the blood in their eyes had exploded from within. I shuddered. The ground was slipping out from under me. All of a sudden, the car jerked to the side as Mom swerved to avoid an overturned truck in the middle of the road. I was thrown against the door, my pulse racing as I struggled to steady myself. The truck wasn't empty. I caught a glimpse of movement, someone crawling out of the wreckage, their face bloodied, their limbs flailing in a desperate attempt to escape. But before I could process what was happening, we were past them, leaving them as a distant memory behind us. Our car was speeding past the carnage. "Don't stop," Dad ordered, his eyes fixed ahead. "We can't stop for anyone." He was right. Stopping would mean death or worse. But that didn't stop the guilt from gnawing at me, the overwhelming sense that we were leaving people behind to fend for themselves in a world that had turned into a waking nightmare. "Look out!" Mum's voice broke through my thoughts, her hands jerking the steering wheel again. Ahead of us, more figures had appeared on the road, staggering forward with that same unnatural gait, their arms outstretched like they were reaching for us, like they could catch our scent in the wind. My chest tightened as we veered past them, the car teetering on the edge of the narrow road. "Faster!" Dad urged, his voice tight with tension. But there was no escape from the terror. No matter how fast we went, no matter how far we drove, they were everywhere, closing in on us from all sides. "We're almost there," Mum whispered, her voice only just audible over the roar of the engine. But the bunker, our safety net, was like a distant hope, a dwindling light in a world that had gone dark. And then it happened. A loud bang, followed by the jarring sensation of the car skidding. For a split second, time died with the end of the world. The engine sputtered and came to a halt. My breath caught in my throat as the reality of the situation hit me like a tidal wave.